If you're talking sports, it's the matchup. Mickey here with Zizzy, we cutting it up. Just a couple athletic enthusiasts. You know what it is, the Mickey Zizzy podcast. Season 3, episode 38. Consider it a date. Yes, sir, we are back for another week, and I'm here with my main man, Mickey Hines. It's good to always be here once again. And this is the Mickey Zizzy podcast brought to you by Pinnacle Supplementation. Make sure you reach your pinnacle. Check out pinnaclesup.com for all of your fitness and wellness needs. Also, check out G3 on YouTube. You got to follow our main man, Grant Anderson, the OBL extraordinaire, the pickup court globetrotter, secret soft shooter, and the Smucker Smack Talker. That's that man with a plan. You know what it is. We're here, man. We got a lot to talk about. It is tournament day. It's March Madness in this thing, and we got a lot to discuss. But first, you know, we're going to get into it with our other things. We got personal week, but I got to intro the man. Mickey, what you doing? What's up?
Hello, friends. This is March. Mr. Zizzy, the tournament, the brackets are out, and I am beyond excited. I felt like a child on Christmas morning waiting for those brackets to come out. Been filling them out, really diving deep. I went to the Matrix, Yank. I went in deep. I was doing stats. I was looking this up. I mean, call me a professor because I was diving so deep to try to figure out who my champion's going to be. And we'll get to it. And I'm excited. I feel confident. And you know what? I feel very confident. I'm going to go win the whole thing. Like, I was about to come on here with glasses, look all good and spiffy, looking like an actual
professor. Standing up right there. That's how much. What?
But I have a lot of confidence with the research that I've done. I understand it's March. Anything can happen. I feel pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I like the confidence. I'm just going to say that starting out. I like the confidence.
Obviously, it was very, very hard, but we'll get to that after the personal week. But I'll start us off. I'll kick us off here on this episode. Person of the week is actually going to go to the father, Mickey Hines, actually. Michael Hines. Shout out to Pops. Hey, I don't think he's ever gotten a shout out here or a person of the week. So we're going to shoot one his way because, you know, it's just so funny. If this doesn't explain the person who he is, I don't know what does. But Haley and I were shopping at Hobby Lobby, right? Getting some new stuff here and there. And I saw this big, giant flamingo, right? Like huge metal flamingo. I said, Haley, we should totally get this for our front yard of the new place, you know? And she's like, no. I'm like, you know, whatever. Like, you would think it's cool. We'd have it in front of our yard, right? I'm like, send it to my parents. Like, wouldn't this be cool? And then later that day, we see a video of that same flamingo in my parents' shopping cart. We got it for you. So, huge shout out to the Pop for getting a huge flamingo. We did compromise. It's going to go in the backyard, going on the porch where everyone's going to be.
Dang it, Haley!
No, super.
I was gonna say, dude, you can join the bird gang because I'm not gonna lie. Me and my Hank and JD and we have it's a huge rooster in front of our house. It's awesome. So awesome. No, I love that stuff. That's amazing. No, Haley, we gotta screw the compromise. That's gotta go front center, front yard. I love it. That's amazing. No, shout out Mickey for that. That's awesome. On my end, it's actually been tough to get work done at work recently. We've got some new additions to the work family, and that has been in the presence of two puppies, two golden retriever puppies, and they are named Malibu and Lucy. And I'm partial to the name Lucy when it comes to dogs because I had a dog named Lucy when I was growing up. So, I mean, I was in love with these puppos. They are my coworkers. Coworker, her name is Connie Peters. She will be the person of the week, but she's just bringing the good energy to work. You know, like I'm loving the puppy love. I don't understand the obsession with puppy breath. Apparently, that's a thing. I don't get it, but a lot of people seem to really go for that. But no, it's just been cool. I just like supporting people that are all about their animals and just enjoying their lives. And so going out, getting two new puppies, bringing them into the coworkers at work, and just totally helping out the vibe for the week. So that was a really cool time and just fun to be around that. So shout out Connie and hope the puppers are doing well. I heard Lucy wasn't feeling too good, so.
I really thought you were about to say that the dogs were the person of the week. It's like, huh?
That's no. I thought, I mean, they stole the show. They stole my heart. That's for sure.
So Connie, the dog owner, is person of the week. No, that's awesome. Bringing
Yes,
those positive
Connie. No,
vibes.
Connie Peters will be the person of the week. But shout out Lucy and Malibu because
Lucy and Malibu. Who let the dogs out? Who let these dogs out early morning with Mickey Zizzy? Crack that coffee. Get those energy
it's
drinks.
game time now.
We
Let's
are
go.
alert. We are ready. Yank. Let's talk about this bracket. Obviously, it did come out, and it was very, very hard. This might have been one of the more challenging years, just because like I've been watching college basketball more. I'm like, man, that team's real good. This team gets hot. Snap! This team's got this one guy. So I mean, let's break it down region by region. We're gonna go with the South region, and some of my automatics are Alabama, of course, Arizona, of course, and then Creighton and Baylor. Those are kind of my four big like from the South. Like we don't even need to talk about first round, right? The one I
I
am,
mean, I will say this. I'm with you on Creighton at least making it out of the first round. If you're I think my second bracket might not have them big making it past NC State. Not that I believe that will necessarily happen. It's just more of like a hedge. Um, but still, I think that would be the only one out of those ones that you discussed that maybe. But I mean, I feel you. If anyone's been seeing the March Madness commercials and Creighton flies through the early rounds, I believe it. I get it.
and that's what I'm saying. Like NC State, like I don't see them as this great 11 seed. I know 11 season, 12 season notorious for big upsets, but like just how they enter the tournament. When I was watching them in tournament play, I was like, okay, Creighton's good. Like I might mess around and go throw them in the Sweet 16. We'll talk about how far I've sent them in my number one bracket, but yeah, I do have them beating NC State. So come on over. Let the Jays fight. Um, I guess
No,
it's all about
if we're
scoreline.
talking whole region though, I would agree. I would say South probably the easiest to pick. I would say round one, in my opinion.
And that's the thing, Yank, is we're gonna say, oh, it was easy to pick, and there's gonna be this one upset. We're like, really, this really had to
Yep.
go bust my
Well, that's
bracket.
It's March Madness. We're talking all confident right now. We're thinking we got the perfect bracket. Someone's gonna do it. It's gonna be one of us. It's gonna be one of us in this tournament bracket challenge. Shout out the Mickey Zizzy podcast bracket challenge. If you haven't gotten into it yet, you still have a few hours. We got time.
Hours, yeah, like ticking. The time is ticking. Probably by the time this comes
Yeah.
out, it'll already be open. Gonna send out a few more invites out there. Go check any social media to go join or to look at. Now, my last thing is everyone's gonna be able to see each other's brackets here in a few hours, but want to hear my big upset in the South? I do have one
Oh
huge
boy. Oh, he's got an upset.
Charleston to upset.
I actually like it. I'm not picking it in, I think, my main one, just because it's hard when people haven't played
Other top 10
strong
or top 25
opponents, but
teams.
it's not like San Diego State has done all that really either. So I get that. It's just overall schedule. I bring it up to me. Why do you think they're going to win?
No, yeah. So my big thing here is I love the offensive play by Charleston. I mean, they score 80 points a game, and that's a lot of my things. You know me and stats. Like stats really drove my brackets. You're gonna see me bringing up that a ton, right? And granted, San Diego has put up really good defense at times, but like you got to predict these big upsets. And San Diego State would be a great if they were a 12 seed. Like if this was flip flopped, I'm going with San Diego State. I think no matter what for this matchup, because once again, these are two teams. You're like, okay, they're losing second round. It doesn't even matter. You know what I'm saying? In my eyes, but I just feeling like if San Diego State was a lower seed, you're like, oh, there's your upset. There's your team. You know, last year in the past, they've been known to upset teams. They're gonna go upset, but now like they're the dog, or they're the head honcho with the target on the back. You're like, can they actually rise to the occasion of being a 5 seed? I think Charleston comes, call it Charleston chew. They're gonna chew them up and spit them out and go collect the W.
I mean, they don't have necessarily a star, but when you have all five of your starters averaging double digits scoring, when you're a top 100 team in defensive and offensive efficiency, like I get it. There's a reason why I have Charleston winning in one of my brackets. Like I do understand that. For me, I always have kind of believed that the tournament is who's hot right now as well.
Fair.
And the San Diego State, for me, they have only lost three times since early December. With
Charleston's only
me, it
lost three
just
times straight up.
and I get that. I get that, but I mean, we're talking San Diego State versus Charleston. I understand that San Diego State's only played two top 25 opponents. Charleston's played one. It's not like they're crazy. There's a crazy difference in difficulty of schedule, but just overall across the plane, San Diego State's playing Power Five teams much more often than Charleston. So that I'm looking at that, and then I'm looking at the fact that you are playing those better teams and still only have the 3 losses since early December. I feel like they're the hotter team, but again, I hear what you're saying with Charleston. They can shoot. They are top, like I said, top 100 in both sides of the ball efficiency. You can you can play and cause some problems for some people.
Gotcha. Now let's move on to the East. If you have no other matchups in the South.
No, I think, like I said, I'd want to say that the South was the easier of
First
the
round,
four quadrants to pick, but that's going to be the one that we probably do the worst in. Just watch.
right? Moving on to the East. In my opinion, this was probably one of the easier. And that's the scary thing. When you have I have all but one higher seed moving on to like the next round. That's scary. I don't like picking that. But this region is hard. I mean, you have Marquette, who is hot, who a lot of people have in the Final Four, a lot of the experts, right? Kansas State, I really, really want to pick Montana State to upset Kansas State just because they're Kansas State. They're not
It's
Kansas.
Montana State.
Exactly. And like all the experts can't even fathom. Sometimes they say, oh, watch out for these dogs, like playing against Duke. I heard this is actually gonna be a really, really hard matchup because Oral Roberts is hot right now. I mean, they're
Roberts
30
is a
and
good
4.
team, but you're
They
coming
can shoot
against
the lights
Duke,
out of
who
the
just,
ball,
yeah.
averaging 84 a game. Like, watch out. And then, Memphis is, I think they're going to be a dominant team. I mean, they were last year. They're battle tested. They've, that not necessarily been here before, but like they have, you know what I'm saying?
I
Um,
actually think that's going to be one of the tougher 8, 9 seeds. The matchups when you're looking at everything. Again, it's another strength of schedule thing. I mean, FAU is 31-3, but they have yet to play a top 25 opponent. I do understand that. But for me, when you are top 40 in offensive and defensive efficiency, and you have like great defensive rebounding stats, even though it's so crazy to me because I think they only have like 2 or 3 guys that are above like 6'4". But FAU has played very well, and maybe I'm a little biased because it's Florida Atlantic, but I do think that that's going to be an upset. I do.
if we had to put big money down there, I'm going Memphis all the way. I can't even fathom. I understand in their conference they're 18-2. They're these hot shots, but end all be all, I just think Memphis is one of those teams that is a sleeper. Some people even picking them to beat Purdue, and I totally agree. But I do think Purdue beats them next round. But we'll talk about that later when we talk about the second round. But I understand. But it's Memphis all the way.
Yeah, it's just Memphis struggles with rebounding, and FAU's been really good at it. And to me, that could lead to more second chance points. So I'd like FAU in this matchup.
Gotcha. I mean, I do have USC upsetting Michigan State. A lot of people are right.
Whoa!
I know.
Michigan State going down round one.
Because
that never happens.
I know, but everyone's like, oh, they are the solid 7th seed. And with my bracket, that was the only one I had that the lower seed loses. I can't get behind Kentucky and Tennessee losing. Tennessee's got dogs of athletes, right? Kentucky's Kentucky. They're going to get out of the first round. So, I
Even
had to
against
choose one
Providence, though,
upset.
that is a tough draw. Providence is a tough draw.
That is very tough. I do think so. I think it's going to be a close game. But I think Kentucky somehow pulls it off, just because of the history of what Kentucky has been. But back to the USC, I was just really going down to it. I was going back and forth, and they are legit like the same in my eyes. 72 to 70 points per game. You look at the defense, how many points they allow, 67 and 67. So like they are very, very close. Besides against top 25, USC is 2-4, 4-4 for Michigan State, right? I mean, obviously these are the easy stats that you can look at, but I need an upset in each region, and that was the upset.
Can't be perfect. It never is.
And that's the thing, though. We're talking here like, no way you can choose Michigan State to lose. Like, while we're seeing all these other teams, there's no way they can lose. And granted, I bet you one of them is going to fall, and it's really going to be upsetting. but I do have USC. I just think, Tom Izzo is a phenomenal, phenomenal coach, but I do think he goes out in the first round, him and that Michigan State squad.
And I will say, I this is the only uh, region that I do not have. And I mean, FAU is a 9/8, so
Upset.
I guess you got an upset. But outside of that, I'm straight up on this one. I believe that all the higher seeds will go through, and I'm with you. I look at the Michigan State USC one, especially with the second round. All that's played in California. You got USC that's going to be from California. They might have a little kind of home court advantage there. It's Tom Izzo in the first round. Can't can't take him losing.
And see, that's the thing. Like, I really can't get mad at you because I definitely see each side of almost every pick, right? Um, but that's why when we get to the
Yeah, man. Hey, that's why we
later
got
rounds
multiple
is when it
brackets.
gets
That's why
wild.
no one's had a perfect one
One
ever.
in quintillion, whatever it may be. But let's head on over to the Midwest region.
My favorites.
For the Midwest,
Just I like
this
the
one's
matchups. I
hard.
like the games, man. It's gonna be fun.
I mean, this one, I think, granted, these next two regions are probably the harder ones out of the bracket. When I first looked at it, I saw the Hawks second round against Houston. And what have I been saying on this show?
Don't
Houston are
do it,
fraud.
dude. Don't
That was the
do it.
first thing I did. I went Houston, Iowa, dub. Now that is in one of the brackets. Now, since we are playing for a prize, I do have Houston winning in another bracket. This is a 2-thing entry. But that's the first thing I did, Yank. I said, what better
Oh,
way would it be for me to call out Houston and for them to lose in the second round to a hot Iowa team who can get hot at any time?
they
Yeah, you
can.
betcha. Let's go Hawks. And that would be something. First time to the Sweet 16, I think, ever for Fran McCaffrey. And to do it, and Sessler might be hurt. So I know he has that groin injury, and that's nothing to play with. And maybe they sit him just because they think it's going to be a walk in the park against the Hawks. And the Hawks can beat anybody. They can play with anybody, but they got to be hot, Mr. Zizzy. If they are cold, if they are missing, they're not going to win the basketball game. I could go on and on, but I do think the Hawks win against Auburn and obviously Houston against Northern Kentucky.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, no, Houston's got Northern Kentucky, and I'm with you. I mean, injuries have
Oh, you
kind of
with
been
me?
a
Hawks are
topic.
upset in the second round. You heard it there.
No, I'm not with you on the Hawks on an upset in the second round. I'm not on that. I will say that the injury question does need to be looked at. Does need to be looked at. A lot of people have actually been bringing up the injury bug as we get into this tournament, and you're making your picks because there's actually a few higher ranked teams that have some question marks when it comes to some of their star players. Houston with Sasser, that's probably the biggest one. um, I think that he sits round one
Oh,
against the
100%.
16th seed. I mean, obviously against Northern Kentucky, I think he sits. I think to make it through that. Um, I don't want him sitting much longer than that. I'm with you. It makes you a little bit nervous going against Iowa, which is just a team that it could be any given night with them. Just the way they are capable of shooting the ball, it is an any given night thing. But to me, when we're talking about Houston, I mean, they are literally just an elite, well-rounded squad. I mean, they have the defensive player of the year. They got a whole bunch of great talent, and they've been this. I mean, they're 31-3. They're number one seed outside of Alabama. I want to say, like overall in this tournament, I got to give them the benefit of the doubt. Make it at least through the first two rounds.
And that's completely fair because in one of my brackets I do. But like,
Yeah.
first thing I did, Mr.
But
The
I just
Hawks
love how
upset.
you thought you're like first thing. Oh, Houston ain't got it.
Yep.
Houston ain't got it.
Um, but let's check out the rest of this bracket. I mean, if you're an Iowa fan, you're legit in the Midwest region because Drake and Iowa State are also in the same region. But let's look at the teams that they are going up against. I think Miami does kind of steamroll Drake. I don't really think they have a chance. Miami had a really, really lucky draw, in my opinion, for this. Granted, Drake does play great defense, but like how Miami scores the basketball, they haven't seen that type of powerhouse all year. So I think Miami does roll it. Indiana rolls Kent State. Like you just can't. And like they had a bad Big Ten tournament, so bad quote unquote for Indiana. So I think they come back and they, really stick it to Kent State, the MAC school, and then Iowa State against Pittsburgh, which Pittsburgh looked good. Yank.
They
They
did.
looked good. Not gonna change it, but like if you need a 11 seed to win, like check them out because now they've been. I might talk myself into it. I might. You know what? Live,
Woo!
boom.
No, don't do it.
I'm doing it. How Pittsburgh played, Mr. Zizzy. Like you saw that team dominance. All right, in that first half. Like they are scary. They can score the basketball. Granted, it is Nevada. And I don't know. Iowa State was hot all year. They were a potential Big 12
That's okay.
champion.
Okay.
I might talk myself
That's
down.
kind of where I lie. Well, also again, I think personal bias plays into it and I love it. But like I spent 4 years in Iowa. I'm gonna give Iowa love when I can. Okay. That's why Iowa's winning round one. Iowa State's winning round one. Let's go. I'm taking that, and it's not, you're right. Pittsburgh looked great. Wasn't against the best quality opponent, but for me,
Is that
like
what you want? You want a team to be fresh. Like, all right, we've been here. All right,
okay,
we got
yeah,
our
that's
feet wet.
that's fine, but you can't say. I mean, like Iowa State's got X factor
Recency.
players. They've played 14 games against top 25 opponents this year. They're 9-5 against top 25 opponents this season. Like you're one of the strongest defensive teams in the nation. You limit turnovers really well. They're great at forcing turnovers on the back end. I It's hard for me to not give Iowa State the edge here. But I mean, 11 seeds have always been dangerous, right? 11 seeds are always those ones that seem to be bracket busters. I get it if you want to take an upset because I do understand how Pittsburgh has looked. I'm just, my reasoning is Iowa State is more experienced, more X factor players, better defensive team, played better opponents. To me, it all boils down to when you have when you're tournament ready, they're more tournament ready than what Pittsburgh will be. Now,
No, I had Iowa
does that mean
State.
they're gonna win? I don't
I
know.
just had Iowa State no more longer than 2 minutes ago. But just with how they played and kind of doing the last looks, I need a few more upsets. And I do think just since they played a game, they played in an environment, they're going to come out a little bit more hotter. And I feel like if Iowa State does dig themselves a big hole, just because, they got to get the rust off, they got to get used to shooting, in the game in that arena, they do fall. But when we come back on the next episode, I may be eating my own words, but you know what? I'm going to stick to the guns. And you put a
All right.
very compelling argument, Mr. Zizzy.
Hey,
You did.
hey,
I kind of want to switch it back, but you know what? We're making a live pick on
hey, if you're gonna switch it, just stick with it now. You gotta look strong, baby. Look strong.
next two matchups. Xavier against Kennesaw State, easy. I mean, Xavier's going to go far for me. Everyone's really liking Xavier, how it's like their year. Texas A&M versus Penn State is actually such a hard pick because Penn State's hot. I mean, they almost beat Purdue for the Big Ten championship, but every fire has to go out, right? I do take A&M here, winning just because I think the fire is going to go out, and a lot of people are going to pick Penn State to win here. I think they used all their magic touch in the Big Ten tournament to fall 2 points short, but like they're looking good. But once again, no really big time X factor player for Penn State. I just think Texas A&M, they are the higher seed. I think at the end of the day, they're going to prevail.
Oh, I'm with you. I mean, 4-1 against top 25 opponents. I mean, they offensive rebounding's been really big for them. I think that anytime you have a team that is able to get second chance points in a tournament, especially against somebody that might have some issues, like I think Penn State has been great, but you're right. Like the magic will run out, especially when you are such a heavy 3-point shooting team. Like, when you rely heavily on the 3-point ball, it's going to be any given night where it's either you're unstoppable or you're cold. You're so cold. And if they have any type of that going against A&M, I mean, I think that it'll be a wrap at that point. I'm kind of with you. I think the magic runs out in the actual tournament.
You want the big news, though, in this region? Probably my biggest take.
Mm.
We brought up
Oh,
Colgate
don't say they're. I love it. I did
last.
because, like, when you talked about it, I had to look at it immediately. I was like, "Ooh,
The
15."
second thing I did in this bracket, Colgate to upset Texas. They are the second best shooting team in the nation. They have the best assist to turnover ratio in the nation. Those are two huge stats of things I exactly said was going to help you win basketball games in March Madness. Texas is known for losing early in March Madness. So give me Colgate, put on the toothpaste, and let's go ride. I'm predicting a 15 seed to upset Horns down. Let's go. Find me. I don't care.
Hey, I like it for the shooting aspect. Okay. They are the second best shooting team. I want to say they're the best 3-point shooting team in the
Yeah.
country. Like you said, the assist ratio, they take good care of the ball, but you're playing Texas and you are not a defensively scary team. Um, I think at the end of the day, Texas, you're coming fresh off of winning the Big 12 championship. You're hot
They're
when
going to
you
be
need to
tired.
be. Eh, Come on, man. That's not
Big
how
12's
that
hard to win.
goes. That's not how that goes.
Oh, it's
It's
how it goes.
basketball. It's basketball. They play games every other day. Come on. So to me, I'm not going to say that because if you're winning the tournaments, it tells me everything you need to know and it tells me about your game right now. So for me, they're coming off the Big 12 tournament. They rank as a top team in the nation in defensive efficiency. It's defensive specialty versus offensive specialty if you ask me, because Colgate is going to be able to shoot. Texas has been known to struggle shooting, but Texas can play incredible defense, and obviously Colgate doesn't. So it's going to be like, can Texas's defense be better than Colgate's offense? Is Colgate going to shoot the lights out of the ball? We don't really know. I'm going with Texas here, but Colgate can provide a scare. I'll give you that.
I'm even so crazy. They make it to the
It's a
Sweet.
15 seed. I mean, the fact that we're
They
saying they can
make it to
provide
the
a
Sweet
scare
16.
is, yeah.
Colgate, no one's really picking them for like the upsets. They're saying like this 14 seed, this 13 seed. No. Colgate all the way. Shoot, I'll go get a Colgate jersey if they make it to the Sweet 16 and make my bracket come true. All right, putting it on the Mickey and Zizzy podcast. But big news: Colgate winning, beating Texas.
The thing is, you always know, like every year, there is some Cinderella team. And I don't know. I mean, like I'm going through my bracket. I don't think I have much more than maybe like a 7 seed or something going further than the second round. I think. Oh no, I got a 12 seed going to the Sweet 16. That's about it.
Which we'll talk about. We'll talk about each round, some of the big
Yeah,
upsets,
but
big matchups. But let's talk
yeah.
about the West real quick. Hopefully everyone that is out there, hopefully we talk about your team or where your team lies or what pick you have winning it all and kind of our first initial thoughts. Then as we go throughout the rounds, round 32, Sweet 16, we'll talk about what teams we have shown up there or our stronger teams, et cetera, and we'll slowly eliminate them all. But this was the hardest region, Mr. Zizzy. This region can win it in my eyes. They really can. Any dog that comes out of this, because you have Kansas, reigning champ. Can't go wrong. Got to beat them. They're the champs until said otherwise, right? UCLA, they do had that big injury to Jalen. Man, I should have the stat ready up for me. But they're still good with the two other starters that they have. They do play a very, very good basketball
Yeah,
game.
that is Jalen Clark, by the way. I think he
Jalen
was
Clark,
it
how
his
close?
Achilles? His
Yes, Achilles.
Achilles?
He tore his Achilles, yes.
Oh
Which
God,
everyone knew
that's
right away.
awful. It's awful.
But you have St. Mary's, who's been hot, right? They're typically the higher seed as well. Them and San Diego State are similar, but St. Mary's is their dogs. UConn, people want choosing them to win. That's your teams, is it? I put them pretty far just based on the talk you've been talking about. You have Arkansas, who were road dogs last year. You have Gonzaga. You have Northwestern, when it ain't no slouch in the Big Ten. Like, there are a lot of hard and good teams. This region was so incredibly hard for the later rounds. I mean, I do not have a single upset in this region just because these are teams you see go make deep runs. Am I going to eat my words? Maybe. But I feel very confident with every team besides maybe TCU and ASU just because of the recency bias of playing Arizona State playing. But I still have every single higher seed winning.
See, I mean, and I'm with you. This is again one of those really big time conferences. I think that or big time regions. I think that we have the potential for multiple teams in this region to like be capable of winning it all and pushing it deep. I do have two upsets in this region. One of them is Arizona State beating
Like the South.
TCU. I do believe that'll happen, and it's a recency bias thing, just based on play later in the year. Again, I like to go with teams that are hotter now. Um, but my other one's going to be Boise State. Boise State against Northwestern. I feel like I didn't pick many 10 seeds. I think this was actually the only one that I picked throughout the first round. I feel like at some point there's got to be one, right? But with Boise State, we're talking about a team that does have like what is it? I think all five of their starters are double digit scorers. And to me, when you have that, you don't like they're not big on relying on their bench, but I just think when you have five starters that are in double digits, you're solid in scoring. You're going to play against a team that I don't know is having some shooting woes as of late, I guess I could call it. They just had their percentages dropped 6 points in the last couple weeks of the season. So I don't know. It was really just like I'm looking at it and I wanted to like use the argument of like, oh, Boise State's hotter now, but they've actually lost 3 of their last 5 games, so it's a questionable one. But I like Boise here. I can't really explain why. I just really like Boise here.
It's I mean,
Sometimes it's not
I'm
really
going
even
against
about an
Michigan State,
explanation.
right?
Like sometimes
I
you go through and it's a feel thing.
Exactly. And like I've seen Northwestern play in person. Boo Booey is a real deal. He's gonna go win one tournament game himself. They do have some taller guys down there with Nicholson. He doesn't get too many like stat wise, which I'm going against my word there, but like it's one of those things. It's one of those feel things. Like early, he said no way Michigan State loses, right? I said there's no way Northwestern loses. Like I think it's a strong 7th seed. But that's the beauty of March Madness. It goes either way. You got to go with your gut. And in all reality, we never know. It's 1 in a quintillion to try to go win this thing for a perfect bracket. But I do think Northwestern, I understand your side. I get it, right? You need a 10 seed to win. It's really hard. You got to predict the right one. So I do say Northwestern does pull it off just because Boo Boo is a dog. Like he's been causing havoc in the Big Ten. But
Yeah.
and that name has to go on.
Boo
Boo
boo.
Booey. Like double B. Come on
Hey
now.
boo boo.
Let's move on to the round of 32. Now in that west region, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and I hate moving like the higher seeds up, but it's Kansas, UConn, Gonzaga, UCLA. The Sweet 16 is going to be so much fun to watch. I'm going to be cooking the popcorn and watching these teams battle it out. Like I want this 1, 2, 3, 4 so bad because we're going to see some high quality basketball.
Oh, and you're talking on the West there, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
The one we're going backwards now. We're going back up.
I got you. I got you. Yeah, no, on the West, I think I kept it. Yeah, I think I kept all top seeds. I think the only one that I didn't have making it was the 5 seed, and that was just because of a loss I have earlier
Yep.
in the first round. So but yeah, I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4 across it.
I agree. Now let's move up to that Midwest. And I already said it. I've already spoken to existence. Colgate goes upsets Texas A&M. Loving Colgate. So they're my
Going to the Sweet
Cinderella story.
16.
Yep, they're gonna go dancing. And then it's my 1, 3, and 5 here. I do have Miami upsetting Indiana. I've seen so many flaws with Indiana, and they can be off. They're very similar to Iowa, but they've just been more hot more often. And I do think Miami is such a powerful team. I had them going far last year. They have some of those same players that were on that squad last year, so they've been tournament tested a year ago. And I see them going. I see them going pretty far again. Miami Hurricanes. For some reason hurricane history is repeating itself in my bracket, which we'll talk about later. But and then Xavier, I think is a very, very powerful pick. I think if you pick them, you're not technically wrong to win it all.
So here's where we start getting into
Uh-oh.
my takes here. Right. So I think I've got Texas A&M losing to Texas. I think that's pretty straightforward. However, I know you had talked about Xavier going deep. I think they get upset by Iowa State. I do. I really do. Now that one is one that I've been tossing up just because it's like I can't believe that. Like I can't have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I can't do that. Like there's got to be upsets somewhere. And when I look at that one again, for me, it's just kind of came down to the experience just in the regular season of Iowa State. I know they can play defensively. I know they can do all that. But when you play 14 teams in the top 25, you've played against all the talent. You've seen the people that you're going to see in the tournament. And to me, maybe it's a little Iowa bias, but I like them in that I like them in that matchup. I like pushing one of the higher seeds out a little bit earlier there. And then I follow it right back up. When we're talking about Indiana losing, you had talked about Indiana losing. I believe that, but I do not believe it's to Miami. I have Drake going to the Sweet 16. Absolutely.
You are
Going to the
on
Sweet
and then
16.
Iowa.
When you have five starters and the average age is 23 and your youngest player on the team is 20 years old, you know what you're doing. You've been around, you played college ball a little bit, you know your system. It's a different IQ level when you're not a one and done type of team, when you're not when you have cohesiveness throughout your like a team chemistry is all that. I love it. They were scary against Miami in the first round. I know Miami had that great run last year, and I preached it, said they were going to go far last year. I don't think they had the same success. I don't think they repeat it this year. When you're going against a team that like when you have that experience, and then the youngest player, when you have the starters that have the age and experience, when your youngest player is the best shooter on the team, shooting 40% from three, when you have like a very good point guard, 3-to-1 assist ratio. Like these guys are not your typical 12 seed. All right. They're 27-7. They can bust brackets. I know they'll end up going against Indiana in that second round if everything I said was true. And they have the superstar duo. I like it.
You're going based on age, which is bonkers. Zizzy's over here.
It's basketball IQ.
He's like, all right, they're 23, 23, 23. But the thing is, that Miami Hurricane team, Isaiah Wong was in the tournament last year, right? He was a big part of it. Same thing with Jordan Miller. Now those are the two leading scorers. And then they also have two other guys rising up with 13 and 13. Like it's not just 4 or 5 dudes over 10 points. It's 13. Four dudes over 13. They put ball in hoop at the end of the day. And that's what's going to drive my pick to have them upset. So, I mean, agree to disagree here, but I can't get talked off this Miami hunch. I really can't.
Okay. All right. Hey, and I respect that. And I understand where you're coming from their run last year. I do. But to say that age won't matter, oh, I'm telling you right now. I mean,
I do. No, I do
back
agree.
even to our football, Dave. Joey V at Lake Forest, that man was like 30, and he ran all over us.
I do agree with that take, but it's Drake, and I understand. I get it because I do talk about that later on. I will when we get to the later rounds about age and being seasoned and whatnot. The East, I only had one upset, Kentucky beating Kansas State. I think they do make a little bit deeper of a push since they are a 6 seed and they don't have the target on their back. I do like Marquette. I love Tennessee. Duke and Tennessee, that's going to be another matchup where you're going to sit down for a whole basketball game. You're going to enjoy the sport of basketball. And watch out for Memphis to beat Purdue. I'm not saying it. I know Purdue is going to lose. They're not making the Final Four, but I'll get into it next round.
I mean, I don't have much. I do have Creighton kind of flying through the first two rounds. I do like them, even though they're going to run into Baylor. Again, I'm with you. I kind of feel like there's got to be some type of shakeup. We can't have every high seed win every single game. But aside from that, I think
Creighton and Kentucky are great
yeah.
teams to like push through into the Sweet 16. You're
Yeah,
like, okay,
I mean,
there's my
you
low
look at that
seed.
Kentucky Kansas State game. You look at Michigan State and Marquette. I'm going to take Marquette there, but I mean, I not a crazy amount of upsets, but enough to keep it spicy.
Exactly. I have Virginia still winning, Bama, Arizona, etc. Like
Yep.
those are three
Yep.
dominant teams that need to move on. So, I mean, we are flying through now, but the Sweet 16, Yank, this is where things get dicey for me. This is where my bracket will make and break, and I am confident. Bama loses to Virginia.
No.
I'm joking. I want to. I was going to try to get your reaction. I wanted to. Obviously, Arizona.
I love it. I get the whole noise factor and everything that's going on with Bama this year, but we cannot deny how good this team is. We cannot.
No, they're a very good team. They're making the Elite Eight for sure. Tennessee and Marquette 2-4. I hate picking it, but Purdue's losing. That's the big upset I have here is Tennessee is just more athletic. They can get Zach Edey into foul trouble, and their two guards have to crack at one time. Everyone's talking about. We just talked about it, Yank. You got to be somewhat seasoned, and Zach Edey is seasoned, but he's a center, and it's very, very hard to win national championships with just a good center. You know what I'm saying? You got to have good guard play, et cetera. And the two freshman guards are a little scary. I'm just going to run through my entire Sweet 16. Miami goes on. They upset Houston. Once again, this is where a lot of my one seeds do
Wow.
fall.
Wow.
Houston falls. I'm really riding that Miami wave. I am out there in the Florida sun. I do have Xavier beating Colgate. I think that's the Colgate run ends against Xavier. There's so much magic you can have in the Cinderella story. And then upset Gonzaga over UCLA because they are seasoned. They do got some old dudes. Drew Timmy finally makes it, a little bit deeper, quote unquote. I know they haven't technically won it all, but
I mean, for me, when you're looking at that, I agree with most of those. I've got all the higher seeds winning except for two, and those are two of the one seeds I do have falling in the Sweet 16. I have Purdue losing as well in the Sweet 16, and I have Kansas falling in the Sweet 16 to UConn because we all know why I'm on the UConn train.
exactly. Now, instead of just breaking down our entire bracket, which is totally fine because at this point everyone does know it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
My final four is no one seeds because this is where I do have Bama losing to my champion, ladies and gentlemen. Drum roll, please. Arizona wins it. Last year, history repeats itself, Yank, and we're back. Arizona Wildcats. Nobody is picking them. I like it, right? They are such an efficient team. When I was looking back at it, Yank, opponents points per game, 71. They're right up there with Alabama, right? They shoot the basketball, 82. I mean, this is the Alabama-Arizona matchup. This is the matchup of the two. And I just think because based on a little bit how older they are, they score buckets. They get absolute buckets. And I see them upsetting Alabama here.
Was that major argument? I just heard. Was that major argument?
I've been saying like it does drive, but it's Drake compared to some of these other higher basketball teams that have played in the tournament who have succeeded in the tournament. So I do have Arizona and with Azula Tublius. He's an absolute dog with 19-9. I mean, he's going to be your head honcho there. And then you also have Omar Ballo, who's the center, who can also get boards. So they're going to get boards. They're the third best shooting team in the nation. I mean, my stats go with it. The age goes with it. The guard play is still nice. I mean, they have 5 dudes over 10 points in double digits, Yank. All my stats of what I say is a good basketball team. Everything aligns with Arizona. I have to go with it based on my strategy and my thought of my winner. But Arizona upsets Alabama. Y'all heard it here. Wildcats, get your head in the game.
I mean, I like it. I do. I'm not going to necessarily agree with it, but I mean, I do like it. When we come and talk about the teams that we're talking about towards the end of the tournament, I mean, we have very similar teams. I've got the Alabama and Arizona matchup. I've got Bama advancing to the Final Four. However, when we talk about that, and that's just been, I know we talk about that noise factor and the issues of everything they dealt with during the regular season. I feel like that becomes the driving force late in the tournament. I do. I think that gets taken the opposite direction. Instead of that being a distraction, it becomes a come together piece and it becomes the reason why Brandon Miller will step up and show out when he needs to in a closeout type of game. That's where I think that will come into play. And that's the only reason why I have Bama pushing forward. And I mean, if we're talking about it, I mean, my championship, if we're talking this season, is going to be UConn. They're going to make it all the way. They're going to do it. I'm taking them all the way. It's going to be them and Bama. I've got in the championship, and I have them pulling out that upset just because I've been preaching it since we did the last episode. These guys are hot, and they're going to be a problem in the tournament. I can go into all my reasons, but just believe me. And if they lose, and when they lose in the first round, I will just not be here. That's
same, right? I get it. I said this region could win it from the get-go, so I understand. I can't say that you're wrong there. I do have Gonzaga as my other person. I think this is their chance where they really,
True Timmy.
Exactly. I'm riding the True Timmy. I'm riding the age wave. If I really do have to put it, they have a bunch of senior and junior guards and forwards. Obviously, we talked about Drew Timmy being one of the highlights of college basketball. But like, I do think they upset Kansas. I don't see it going back to back. It's just so hard. I understand they got Grady Dick, who is a great shooter, right? They do have Jalen Wilson, who's a great player. So I get it, but end all be all, Xavier's also my Final Four, and Marquette, and those two teams I hate putting my Final Four. Yank.
Really, Marquette.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I hate it. I really do. But I had to go with my gut. I had to go with it. Something that like I don't think would happen, but it is what it is. But I'm a big believer in Arizona.
Yeah, I mean that's where I was too. When I looked at Marquette, I had them in the Elite Eight. Couldn't bring them in the Final Four. I had them getting upset there. I don't know. It's hard. I haven't really been thinking about Marquette since I was watching the old D Wade highlights. Like it's been a while. It feels like so. It's just hard to put them there. Gonzaga, I did have going the Elite Eight, but if I'm going to pick UConn, that's
Yeah.
where it had to end. And then I took Texas actually making it to the Final Four this year, which is definitely a big difference where you and I are at.
Huge difference here in the Mickey and Zizzy
Huge
podcast, and I
difference.
cannot
Huge
wait.
difference.
Wait,
I
we'll go
wanted to
by.
jump out when you said they were going down that early. I was like, wow, here we go.
You
Here
know, we
we
make
go.
changes.
But it was between them and Houston. I'm with you. I think Houston falls before they get to that prestigious level.
Yep.
But yeah, so that's where we're at. Let's go Huskies for the main
Let's.
one, and backups are backups. But let's get it.
Yes, we do. I do have my backup. I think I have like UCLA winning, like beating someone. So I changed it up quite a bit just so I could like if
Yeah, usually my second one is like a hedge one. It's like I was really worried about these games, so
yeah.
I'll just pick the opposite. So
100%, you got to pick those opposites. Like, your four sures. Like, I think I do have Alabama going to the Final Four just in case they do make a deep run and absolutely hate it. And you understand, like, if that wins, our former interviewee, Shiamino, is going to go absolutely bonkers. And I do not want to live in a world where Shiamino is that happy.
Alabama, like that's all we're gonna hear, man.
No, 100%. Now, Yank, we are going to finish off this episode with NFL free agency. The free agency frenzy has been bonkers. And every year it is. But every year is just as exciting. Because you know why? I should have another hat on. Let Poles cook. Ryan Poles, give the man a key to the city of Chicago. We are all the way back. Gonna win the NFC North. The bad man is gone. I want football season. I mean, we got to thrive.
Hey, he's not gone yet. He ain't gone yet.
Oh, he about to be. But Yank, the Bears are making money moves. DJ Moore, we trade the first round pick for a bunch more, 2 firsts and 2 seconds. And DJ Moore, all right, and he loves it too. I've been following him. All right. You have TJ Edwards, who was just in the Super Bowl.
The whole receiver crew with Fields out at
Yep, at the Chicago Bulls game. Yep.
Yeah.
You also have Tremaine Edmonds, who I think is a huge pickup, 2-time Pro Bowler from Buffalo.
Great pickup.
Huge. We have 2 linebackers who can play with TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds. We also went and got a guard from Tennessee, Nate Davis. Oh my goodness. And our new backup quarterback, PJ Walker. Same style as Justin Fields.
We're not going to talk about the backup. You are Justin Fields.
I know, but like we got. All
right, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna talk about the backup that we got too.
But Yank, I am beyond. I am on cloud 9 with how Chicago's been doing. My hope is through the roof. If we go get Johnson Jr., Paris Johnson Jr. from Ohio State, the tackle. Oh my goodness. If Jalen Carter falls at number 9, we won't go too deep in the draft. Sorry, I'm a little too excited over here because the Chicago Bears are back.
You can speak the Justin Fields into existence. I don't know about that one, but
Bears are back, baby.
No, I love what they've done. I love what the Bears have done. I actually thought it was originally rumored that they were going to go the opposite route, trade Fields and do everything and go that way. I'm glad that they didn't. I think that would have been a locker room disaster, regardless if you think Bryce Young or anybody else that's coming up as a quarterback in this draft is going to be that guy. Justin Fields did nothing to lose his job. Justin Fields did nothing to tell you that he can't develop into a superstar. I mean, the rushing ability alone makes him absolutely dynamic. If he improves at all as a passer, which I believe he will, the Bears have their quarterback for the first time ever in history. The Bears have a good quarterback if he can take that Jalen Hurts step, so to speak. Um, but going out getting DJ Moore, that's a big help. Now you have Darnell Mooney, who becomes the number two. Talk to me nice. That's really good for a number two.
And Chase Claypool
I mean,
actually
I would
knowing the
Chase
offense.
Claypool is a number three, which I really can't.
He actually knows the offense. Now
Yeah,
people are like, oh, he didn't have that many catches. He didn't know the offense yet. It's hard to learn a whole NFL offense in 3 4 days.
okay. Yeah. And I mean, I'm with you. I think the biggest thing when it comes to the Bears is has been the defense. I mean, when you're talking last half of that year, I mean, you guys averaged almost 30 points a game and couldn't stop anybody. So going out and adding Tremaine Edmonds is absolutely huge, in my opinion. Um, and then their second concern was going to be our offensive line. So to go get that guard from Tennessee is big. If you take a couple draft picks, get some more linemen. I like for once what the Bears are doing from a management standpoint. And I
Love
do agree with
Holmes
them.
Cook.
My only problem, I guess, I would see for them is the potential threat of the Lions, I guess. That's about it.
I
I
heard they
don't
might take Jalen
if the
Carter
Packers are
and
losing
David Montgomery
Rodgers, you
now.
can finally, like you said, say goodbye to that bad man. Um, and Vikings, I've never believed in as far as making a deep run. Well, mostly postseason. They might be a good regular season team, but they're not going to do anything in postseason, so I can't believe in them. Bears can do something with that division. It's going to be interesting to see what other moves the Lions make. I think them taking Montgomery from y'all was pretty rude, but
And I hate that we lost Montgomery. Like I'm one of the biggest David Montgomery fans out there, and for him to go really really hurt, so we better get some dog like Austin Eckler coming on over. But they believe in Khalil Herbert. He's fast. They nicknamed the Juice. So I get it. We went and
so
got
he's the starter now, right?
as of right now, yeah.
I mean, I was saying it last year. I thought he had more
But you need two
bounce
running
to
backs.
him
David
than
Montgomery proves
Montgomery.
himself. Proves himself.
Yeah. It's kind
Yeah,
of, to me, it's almost the same situation as what we see in Dallas. Like not the exact same because Zeke's been around longer, but
yeah.
you've got
Zeke
two
Brown.
running backs, and you can see the secondary running back producing more. And I think we've seen that from Herbert at least last season.
Yes, and I mean, Khalil Herbert is young. I think we got him out of the 6th round from Virginia Tech, if I do remember. So he's nice, but David Montgomery, I love him. It was a hard go. But if we do go get an elite running back who can go 1-2 punch with Khalil Herbert, because Khalil Herbert needs help. He cannot be a solo back. We'll be all right. But let's talk about that division foe.
Green
Aaron
Bay.
Rodgers announces on the Pat McAfee show. Pat McAfee must be blessed because his show was popping off because every single person was
450,000 live viewers.
just to
That is
listen to him.
insane.
And
That is insane.
he went to the whole dark retreat, 5 days, 4 nights, didn't know I had to feel myself. And I'm like, okay, dude, come on. I heard you only went 2, whatever. And kudos to him if he actually did that. I never would, but that's something that he does believe in. And I do love how he said all the love for Green Bay. Like he truly does love that city. He truly loves that franchise, right?
Yep.
He's going to be a Hall of Famer. I do think some things were a little bit
He'll retire a
wishy-washy.
Packer.
Yeah, 100%. And I think some things were a little wishy-washy. He said he was 90% going to retire, and now he's involved with the Jets. He has the wish list. Alan Lazard is already over there. I don't see it being too great. It's going to be hard to learn a whole new system, new guys, the offensive line, et cetera, over there at New York. So I don't see it going too great, but Aaron Rodgers no longer has to terrorize myself and the Chicago Bears. So that's something to cheer about. That's something to get excited about.
I mean, for you, yeah. For me, as another team in the AFC East, I'm not exactly excited. I can say that. I do think Aaron Rodgers to the Jets makes the Jets a extremely formidable opponent. You have to put them in the Super Bowl contention.
No,
Yes, you do.
they have Miami and Buffalo
They
and
had
like
Zach
New England will
Wilson
steal one. So
and
that's a
Mike White
hard
at
division.
quarterback, and they were basically, I don't know what their record ended as, but I mean, they were a 10-win team last year, at least. And if they weren't, they should have been. Um, Their defense is elite. Their offense has now you add Alan Lazard to the receiving corps, but you had Garrett Wilson, who is way better than any receiver Aaron Rodgers ever had in Green Bay this past season. I
Christian
know about
Watson's
Devontae.
better,
We
but
know about Devontae. We're not comparing Garrett to Devontae. But basically, him going there, this is now his younger Devontae, in my opinion. Like he will turn
Christian
him
Watson was
into
just as good, but
no. I can't agree with that. I'll say Garrett. So Garrett Wilson, you got Corey Davis, you got a few other you got Alan Lazard that's coming over. You got he got traded, or no, Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore. Thank you. He didn't get traded, but he wasn't happy in the beginning of the year. But now you got Elijah. I mean, you have that talent. You got Breece Hall coming back in the backfield, who's also a pass catching back. And we all know about the defense. The Jets have to be a serious contender when you get a talent like Aaron Rodgers. The Jets have gone all out to get them. They're listening to his wish list. If they listen and end up going and getting OBJ as well, I don't know. I mean, I can't sit here and say that the Jets will not be good. But I mean, I'm with you when there's going to be some learning curves. There's going to be some some low points and stuff that they work through. But we've seen star quarterbacks switch teams late in their career and win a Super Bowl first year, aka Tom Brady. There's no reason why Rodgers can't do it.
no way. And that's your own
AFC,
division. That's
that's
bonkers. What'd you say?
Except for the fact that he's in the AFC East, and that's where
I was going to say he's in your own division. You're hyping up this man like he is.
I'm saying they
out.
are a Super Bowl contender. I can't deny that. I can't.
No, I can definitely deny it. I don't think they're going to have it. They're going to have a woes going into the season. He's going to blame it on XYZ. I don't ship it.
Yeah, I feel like they're going to go like 9-7, man.
Huh?
Yeah, I feel like they're going to go like 9-8.
Yes, that's a great place that they're going to go. They're going 9-7 and get third in the division. Easy.
Okay.
Let's talk about your Dolphins real quick though, and some of the moves they made.
I mean, you're hyping up Mr. Ryan Poles. I'll hype up Chris Greer. I mean, I don't have anything negative to say. I am just happy to be along on the ride. Jalen Ramsey, welcome to the squad. Welcome to 305, baby. We needed that. Let's just start there, right? We know about the offense. We know about Tyreek. We know about Jalen Waddle. We're talking about giving Tua his fifth-year option. The only question with Tua is going to be his health, but we know when he's on the field, he's an MVP candidate, at least as of last year with this team around him. Love that. We re-sign up Mostert, Wilson. I could go on. But when you are on the defense side of the ball, which is where we struggled, especially in the run game, when you bring Jalen Ramsey, who is basically a free player, he's see ball, hit ball, and can cover. Still had 4 interceptions last year. I mean, not my favorite when you put him in man coverage, but zone coverage, absolutely great. And we're going to play a lot of zone with Vic Fangio coming over as a new D coordinator. But I love the addition. We got to have better run fills, and he is the ultimate run fill safety. You're going to be pairing him with Javon Holland, who I still believe is a top 3 safety in this league. We're talking about having Needham back from his injury this year. We've got Xavier Howard and Byron Jones at corner. We just bring in David Long now, the linebacker from the Titans, who's coming off his best season, and he's only 26 years old, 85 tackles last season. I love it. So the defense gets bolstered where we need it to. We got Jalen Phillips and Christian Wilkins up front. I mean, I'm excited to see that. We got Bradley Chubb coming off the edge still, retained him from the trade last year. Vic Fangio, like I said, is the new D coordinator. We're talking zone heavy, zone blitz scheme. Get after it. I love what the Dolphins have done. If Tua stays healthy, we are serious. We are so serious about making a deep run this year. And I mean, I was saying it last year.
Is a Super Bowl contender?
They could. We got 3 Super Bowl contenders in our division. Have at it. We're all going to the playoffs, baby. We're all going.
Aye. No, they did make a lot of good moves, a lot of filled in pieces, and they are going to be the team to be. I have them winning the AFC East next year. I do.
Let's go.
Just from the players that they have, and if Tua does stay healthy, but How about that backup quarterback? Didn't y'all just sign Mike White?
We did. I might want. Hey.
We just talked
I know.
about
I
how
know.
he knows the Jets like the back of his hand. So that's gonna be if you pair up Mike White against Aaron Rodgers just because of where he's been. I think Mike
How
White
funny would
steals
that
it.
be? Tua goes down. We got to play the Jets with Mike White one day, and we win
The
that game
storybook,
against.
it
That would
is.
be storybook.
It is no. They're gonna be a highly favorite if they can stay healthy, especially with Tyreek Hill. I mean, they got a roster. I'm happy they're in the AFC, and they
I
do. I
can't.
think they made the
Yeah.
right pickup.
I've never been happier as a fan. It feels
Same.
crazy to go into seasons being like, "Yo, we're top five, baby. Let's go." Like, we're there, baby. Let's go.
They really are. Real quick, let's talk about some other teams, and we'll be signing off. But I think the Raiders are making some good moves with Jacoby Myers. They went and got Jimmy G. I mean, I think they do draft a quarterback late round, some late
And don't
quarterback.
forget, that's another Josh McDaniels former player pairing. He's going to know that system. It'll be a
Yep.
good pickup.
Yeah, I think that's the right pickup for them. Also, the Lions have been making moves we've already talked about that are doing really well.
The
The
Saints.
Saints
Saints have made some
Saints went and
moves.
got Jamal Williams and
Jamal
Alvin Kamara,
Williams, they got somebody
Derek
else in.
Carr.
Yes, Derek Carr is their new quarterback, which step up, obviously. So, I mean, I like what they're doing there, and especially now if Alvin Kamara has that issue with his offseason stuff,
Or
if
just
he gets
injured.
suspended, now your new number one is Jamal Williams. Okay.
Yep, that's fine, right? Obviously the Eagles re-signed a lot of their players, so they're kind of trying to run it
Well,
back.
I mean, they lost a few too, though. So that's another thing to look at. Like Jason Kelsey coming back is big. Re-signing Darius Slay is huge. But to lose Hargraves, to lose some of the Jordan Day, like a couple of those guys are big, man.
Yeah, and then the last three teams I do want to talk about is the Baker to Tampa. I think this is a wonderful because now it creates a quarterback battle: Kyle Trask versus Baker Mayfield.
Press time, baby.
And I would really like to see Kyle Trask play. I said it from the get go when he was first drafted, like when Tom Brady retires in a few years, which here we are now. That's going to be great for them. And Baker, I think, is going to create the best quarterback possible. If Baker just outplays Kyle Trask, okay, then Baker's your guy. Baker's played in the NFL. I think he is a starter, but he's on his last chance. He's on his last straw to really see if he's a good, like not a good quarterback, but a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, and what better place to do it in a place where you have legitimate weapons, right? I mean, he played in Cleveland where we know he had some weapons there, but the chemistry between him and OBJ was off. Jarvis Landry was on the latter half of his career. And you have Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb in the backfield. But again, it's running backs, and Nick Chubb is predominantly a runner, not a pass catcher. So it's not going to necessarily promote your quarterback's growth when it comes to him. Now you're stepping into Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay has Mike Evans, has Chris Godwin. We're talking about Leonard Fournette still, which I mean, I know he didn't have a great season last year, but I mean,
dropped him, or
huh?
I think they have plans on releasing him.
That's what I'm hearing. So I don't know 100% if he's going to still be around, but I still like Lenny Fournette if they have him or not. They've had solid tight ends in Tampa since Brady's been there. I mean, you got worse if you got the offensive line hopefully coming back a little bit healthier. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that Tampa Bay is any crazy threat by all stretch. I mean, they are in a rebuilding phase, but as far as Baker Mayfield is concerned, yeah, I think this gives him a great chance to kind of still showcase what he has in the tank still for his ability. And I'm with you. It's kind of like your last shot, man. Like Trask has been sitting behind Brady for a few years now. He's been sitting behind Brady and Gabbert for a few years now. He's been learning the system. He's been figuring everything out. It's trash time, as what a lot of these Bucks fans are trying to say. But I mean, now you got a competition with Baker, and like you said, pressure makes diamonds. We'll see what happens.
100%. I do agree with you. It's gonna be fun to watch. I trash time. I like it. I really
Trash
do.
time.
Put on a t-shirt. Last two teams is Lamar needs to be paid. This is outrageous. I hate the aura around NFL quarterbacks that run. He's an MVP. He's breaking records. He's won one game in the playoffs, right? Oh, he's been injured. Last year he could have played. He said, I'm not getting paid. I'm not playing. Right? He had no loyalty to that franchise since they have the audacity to not pay him. I am complete blasphemy. Don't even get I could go on a really long rant, so I'm going to keep it short. But Lamar needs to be paid 133 for $3 million.
Does he need to be paid the 200 million
better?
guarantee?
He is 100% better than Deshaun Watson. And anyone who says so pay him the money, Right, I
You're not
understand
going to pay.
Cleveland has that
No owner
luxury.
in the league is going to pay 250 million guaranteed again.
He needs to be close.
Nobody
200.
will.
200.
200, I could see. That's where I think the threshold should be. I think that a team should come in, whether it's an offer sheet, whether it's Ravens. The Ravens aren't going to do it unless another team offers it. That we know that.
Yeah.
So another team needs to come in, but just straight up, it does not need to be the 250. I don't know what Lamar is asking for 100%, but if you walk in hard number 200 million guaranteed salary, incentives after that, I think he accepts. I don't see why that's an issue, especially if you sign him to a 4-year, 5-year deal. That's a $50 million a year contract. He's well worth that. We're having Daniel Jones get paid 46, 48 million this next season. Like Lamar Jackson is elite, and he's never ever had a wide receiver one. We're talking about like people are saying like he's had Hollywood Brown. Hollywood, there is a highlight reel of Hollywood Brown drops on YouTube when he played for the Ravens. Okay, and half of them are touchdowns. You can't tell me that Lamar Jackson is not that great of a passer, whatever. He's had nobody. He is the Ravens offense. If you take him away, the Ravens are nothing. So I don't know how they don't realize that. I don't know why they want to create such an issue between their star quarterback and themselves. This is only going to push him away. They might win it this year on the franchise tag, whatever else. He can choose not to play. I don't see him doing that. I see him playing regardless. But overall, man, I'm with you. It's confusing to me. I feel like somebody should be able, like 200. I'm not saying beat Deshaun's contract, but at least make it
Very
close.
close. And there's not that many teams that can really sign him. I mean, you have the Titans.
I get the
You
money's
have
coming.
Houston. You have Washington. Like, there's only a few teams that only really need a big time quarterback and who has the actual cap space for him. But pay the dang man.
And well, yeah, and that's if you go the route of just, I mean, because signing him is one issue, right? And there's the issue of getting him from the Ravens. You have to now put in an offer that Lamar is willing to accept, but you also are either going to give up 2 first-round picks, or you got to trade, or you got to do a sign and trade. And that's difficult for a lot of teams. Now, I'm going to throw out this idea that I heard yesterday.
Gotcha.
And I think it's crazy, but if it happens, the NFL is over. And that is there is a possibility that the 49ers will put in an offer for Lamar Jackson.
I
And
mean,
that is because, and think about it. Let's think about it. They still have, they just signed, who was it? They just signed, was it Sam Darnold?
Yeah.
Sam Darnold just got signed to what? Be a 3rd string or a 4th string? They have Brock Purdy and Trey Lance still on the roster. You're telling me they can't do a sign and trade and get somebody to the Ravens that the Ravens would be okay with? Brock Purdy is proven. Brock Purdy's proven. Trey Lance is literally a younger Lamar Jackson.
You trade him. You trade Trey Lance to 49.
I would agree with that, but I'm just saying that is a rumor.
Don't speak that into existence.
And if Lamar goes to the 49ers, we might as well pack up the season. It's over.
Pack it up, sign it off, San Fran, if he stays healthy.
But that was a rumor I heard. I'm not saying that that's going to happen at all, but that scared the heck out of me thinking about that.
I hear you. Well, that is it for Free Agency Frenzy here on the Mickey and Zizzy podcast. Y'all, it's been absolutely exciting. Go watch some basketball this week. We're here for it. It's been absolutely electric per usual. Bigger and better here on the Mickey and Zizzy podcast. And go join that March Madness bracket. Free Pinnacles on the line. The winner of that gets a free Pinnacle item. Once again, shout out to Wiley Allen and the Pinnacle Foundation of Supplements. All right. Any last takes besides my Colgate win in Texas? Colgate.
Let's go Drake, baby. 23 years old. I love it.
23. It's 2023.
All right. You're talking sports. Just the matchup. Mickey here with Zizzy. Yeah, we cutting it up. Just a couple athletic enthusiasts. You know what it is. The Mickey Zizzy podcast. Have a great day, everybody. Peace.